for a while, right?
We had this frantic call this morning from somebody who said, I think we see your truck, and it's not moving.
Buried in the mud.
Yeah, so let's go out and see where Chantal and the KHJ Channel 9 remote truck are.
Thanks a lot, Jeff, and thanks a lot, Meredith. The wonderful little face you see is that of Bingo, the hang-gliding dog. And originally what we had planned for you this morning was to come up on top of this mountain, to put Bingo in his hang-gliding gear, and yes, Bingo really does hang-glide and take off from the top of this mountain. It was an experience that we wanted to share with you. You see, the way we figured it, we thought California is known for some of the best weather, some of the brightest days, and some of the sunniest skies ever in the United States. We figured we can't mess with a remote like that. What could possibly go wrong? That is what could possibly go wrong. We're quite a ways up the mountain. We're not too far from the wildlife way station that we visited about a month and a half ago, I'd say it was. And we got up here and we kept saying, don't worry, it's really going to get pretty. It's really going to be gorgeous by the time we got up here. Well, we got up here and the fog got worse and the rain got thicker and the mud got slipperier, and we took a turn and we slid into the side of the mountain. Yeah, you like it? Isn't that pretty? It took us about 45 minutes to get out with the grace of God and the grace of the hang gliders of California, and they tell me that there's always a reason for everything. And this affords me the opportunity to introduce you to the producer of our remotes. Alex Papp is the man behind these remotes. He's a man you don't get a chance to see very often, but he's the one saying, okay, Chantal, move there, step there. And this is what we're going to do next. So I'd like for you to meet Alex Papp, my producer, and ask him, boss, what are we going to do now?
Well, we're going to hopefully take a slow trek back down this hill and not lose our van over one of these cliffs. But I think we learned a real lesson today, and that's don't climb up mountain hills on rainy days. But remember, there's always a silver cloud. How's that lining?
Yeah, every cloud has its silver lining.
I'm sure it does somewhere.
Well, how about a little preview of some of the remotes we're going to be doing in the future?
Well, we will. I promise you, we are not going to lose our hang gliding piece. We're going to get to it hopefully maybe on Tuesday, and in the future, of course, we'll always have lots of wonderful remotes for everyone to enjoy.
I want to thank. Come on up here, you guys. These are the hang gliders of, come on you guys, of California, who are the ones responsible for getting our truck out of the mud and out of the slush, and you guys have just been troopers. You've all been wonderful. Greg Dewolf is the man who I met originally about this hang gliding, but could we possibly have done anything in this weather?
Well, you can fly in the rain, but if you can't see where you're going, then it makes it really difficult. We don't use instruments to fly, and therefore, no, it's impossible like this.
So don't try this if you're watching at home. Oh, and Bingo, I promise you, will be flying on Tuesday. So you tune in and watch Bingo hang glide. He really does hang glide, doesn't he, guys? Yeah. Thanks a lot. We'll see you later.
I loved it. That was wonderful.
That's just
so that's the behind-the-scenes look at remote television.
We got two messages while Chantal was on the air, one from the Automobile Club and one from Dr.
Day for hang gliding. It looks terrific to me. Chantal?
Thanks a lot, Meredith, and good morning. Well, you know the old saying, at first if you don't succeed, try again. And that's just what we're doing today. You might remember that last week we tried to bring you the sport of hang gliding and introduce you to Bingo, the hang gliding dog. Well, our destination then was the top of Mount Kagel, but due to muck and mud and mire and rain and a stuck truck, we didn't make it. But perseverance prevails because, as you can see, we are here. And the view is splendid. Today, we're going to be talking to hang gliders of California to find out why and how they do what they do. And we'll talk about that wonderful sense of exhilarating power they get. But before we do that, we're going to talk about a different kind of power, not as pleasurable. The power of the atomic bomb. Perfect for takeoff. So stay close because Bingo, the flying dog, and lots of other people will be taking off. But first, here's Jeff with Ashley Montague. Jeff?
Thanks a lot, Sean.
Probably going to be one of my favorites because not only is Chantal going to be talking to hang gliders, but there's a dog involved too. What would be better, right?
It is so lovely up there
Oh,
today.
what a great day. You lucky.
Yeah, Chantal?
Welcome back. As you can see, the gliders are certainly ready. Bingo is certainly ready. And the air, they tell me, is just perfect. You know, being a Texas girl, I always thought that Texas was the prettiest state in the Union. Well, I'm here to tell you that I may be wrong today. You're looking at a beautiful view of Mount Wilson. Dip down a little and you can see the borderline of the Angeles Forest. You follow across, and in spite of the smog, it's pretty. You can see the Santa Monica Mountains. That's the San Fernando Valley down there that you're looking at. You can see Burbank on the left. Goes across in the middle of Van Nuys, and if you have a real eagle eye, you can probably see the studio. And behind me are the Santa Susana Mountains. And people say that you can glide from that far. I've been talking to the gliders this morning, and they tell me that one of the most fascinating things about gliding today is how the equipment has changed, and it continues to change. It continues to get better and better. I hope our cameraman can get a shot of Bingo in his outfit. We're going to be back to talk to Bingo in just a minute, but first I want to introduce you to the man who first got me interested in hang gliding. I don't know if I have the courage to do it yet. This is Greg Dewolf, who I guess I met you about 2 months ago, didn't I?
That's about right, Chantal.
Well, you know, I stand up here and it looks easy. Is it easy? How does it work?
Well, physically, it's actually fairly easy, but it's not a physical sport. It's mental. You have to know exactly what you're doing, and a great deal of planning and practice goes in before you can fly off a hill like this.
Now, that was Debbie, who just took off, who I imagine that we can still see in our camera. Yes, we can. How much training is required on Debbie's behalf before she can take off from a mountain like this?
Well, minimum, you want at least 10 lessons at lower hills, starting with 5 at a 30-foot sand dune and maybe another 5 at a 150-foot to 250-foot hill.
How far can she go?
Well, the distance record's 168 miles.
168 miles in one flight?
In one flight, and they're hoping to top 200 this year, and I'm sure they will.
We are about 2,000 feet up right now, right?
Right, exactly 2,000 feet above the landing area there.
And how high can the hang gliders take off?
Well, at this site, I think the record is about 13,000 feet, but people have been up to 22,000 feet.
I don't know why I'm all of a sudden struck by this question, but is there such thing as hang gliders insurance?
Well, there's liability insurance that's provided by the United States Hang Gliding Association, but other than that, no, not really.
What is the weight limit for someone to fly? It's strange, but I wonder if a heavy person can fly.
Well, they make different sized kites for different sized people. 250 pounds is about the heaviest that the kite is certified for.
That's good. That means Jeff Edwards qualifies, and I know he's interested to know all about that. They have in front of them a ramp here, and I wonder if that's standard equipment.
Well, normally we don't have ramps, but in this case this was built for a fellow who is a paraplegic, and he launches off of here with wheels on his base tube.
A paraplegic flies?
Yeah, he was a flyer before he became a paraplegic, and he loves the sport so much that he wanted to continue with it.
You know, there are lots of people out there who are watching and fascinated. I wonder, where would they go for information, for advice on how to hang glide?
Well, you want to go to professional school and take lessons from them. It's the only safe way to really learn how to fly. Having your friend teach you or to try to learn by yourself is, well, foolish.
Is there a buddy system you mentioned by yourself?
Well, yes, you always want to fly with at least one other person. If anything happens, you want somebody to be there to see. You can see we're not in the middle of civilization here.
Well, all right. As they take off, I'm going to cross over and meet Bingo, who looks like he's ready to take off. Now, this is amazing. They just, look at that. Oh, look at this. Now, Bingo, here. That's amazing. Look how graceful that is. Was that a man or a woman who just took off? Just light as air. For those of you who can't imagine what it's like to be here right now, Bingo probably sums up all of the excitement, because anytime anybody takes off, Bingo goes absolutely nuts wanting to be in the hang glider. I think he's really excited about it. Bingo, How are you? Turn around, Bingo, so we can have you say hello to the gang. The sweet face. Raul, good morning.
How are you today, Chantal?
I'm just fine. Tell me, how did Bingo get interested in hang gliding?
Well, I originally found Bingo as a stray when I was flying, and when I'd bring him out to the flying sites, he would chase every pilot off the hill trying to hitch a ride. So we finally designed a harness for him and made it for him and took him out to the beach and trained him just like a student on a little hill at first, and he just loved it from the very beginning.
You speak of the equipment. All of the pilots, and that's the term they use, I understand, all of the pilots here today are saying one of the things that makes hang gliding really good today is the equipment gets better and better and better every year. How has it changed? Tell us about the equipment.
Just the performance of the hang gliders in the last 2 or 3 years has more than doubled. In other words, they go up easier, they launch easier, they land easier, and they'll fly farther. We're getting flights in hang gliders now, as Greg mentioned, that are going to go up in excess of 200 miles, we think, this year, and taking hang gliding up almost into sailplaning as a sport, you know, in terms of what it's capable of doing.
What about the new automatic hang gliders? Are they worth anything?
You mean powered hang gliders? They certainly appeal to a lot of people, but they do not, as far as we're concerned, have the aesthetics of free flight. You're strictly the wind that we depend on. The lift, the thermal currents that we fly here are what get us aloft without the need of gasoline and power.
As you can see, Bingo is excited. Now tell us what's happening right here. What is that feeling that that person is experiencing? Can you tell us?
Well, as you run off, the kite actually starts to fly. It lifts you off the ground. It's not like running off a hill and jumping. You separate from the earth and you're flying with your glider. You fly at an extremely slow speed, and it's just absolute pleasure. It looks as pretty and as delightful as it is, you know, watching it on television here, I'm sure.
All right, I'm going to let you guys take off. Bingo, are you ready to go? Does Bingo bark when Bingo takes off himself?
No, but he'll run on his takeoff. You can watch him. He'll run all the way down the ramp until the kite glider actually starts to fly, and then he goes straight and climbs up on my back.
Okay, we're ready to go. I'm going to move over here, and I'm going to talk to a couple of the girls, and we're going to let Bingo get set up. So we'll watch you set up, Bingo, and I'll walk over here to the ladies and visit with some of the ladies. Oh, Bingo looks so darling in that. Let me scrunch in here with all of you guys. You guys, that you can tell I'm from Dallas, can't you? Is it easier to fly when you're a woman because you're lighter, you have a smaller frame?
Light people stay up real nice, but some of us aren't always that light.
Well, what do you have to say to that? Are you a good glider?
I think so. I have a better high-speed glide than most people with the light wing loading, but I think that the biggest problem women face is the learning process, carrying it back up the hill. Otherwise, hang gliding isn't a physical sport at all.
No, it's mental. He was saying that it requires concentration. Now, I understand that you're new to this sport. How new is new?
About 6 months.
What got you interested? What intrigued you? And how, 2 questions, and how did you overcome that first fear?
Well, the first time I went to take pictures of Bingo flying tandem, and I went with Greg, who just took off. And I just took pictures. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just was in the air taking pictures, and I loved it. And I've had about 8 tandem flights, and then I started to fly my own.
Would you say that's the best way to go in the beginning, tandem?
I thought it was great.
Well, okay, if that's the best way to go in the beginning, tandem's the way to go. So Bingo and Raul are about to take off, and you saw it first right here on Mid-Morning LA. Have a good trip, Bingo. Have a good trip, Raul. Bye.
Sailing takes me away to where I've always heard it.
Oh, it looks awful good to me. Now, the sinking process is not necessarily supposed to happen, right?
You have to have enough speed for the glider to fly and carry your weight. He has a little extra weight with Bingo, and he has a little extra problems with Bingo running by his side. But you don't always sink right after takeoff. Get enough speed up. Nice light wing loading like somebody like me.
Thanks. Bye-bye, you guys. We'll go tandem, all 4 of us.
That was great.
I want to know where those people go. They're all leaping off the hill and they're not coming back.
When I saw them in Palos Verdes, they were going right down onto the beach, but I think there's a big field down there.
Yeah?
That's somewhere
Is there?
near Burbank. Yeah, that was great.